Good morning, Penrith Church. I didn't expect to be up here this morning. We had arranged for a visiting pastor to be here, and we can't track him down. We're not sure where he is. Pastor Janos sent me a text earlier on to say he hadn't been able to get in touch with him either. So we're not sure what is happening. Over the years of being involved in church, I've had to do various things in leading out. And usually it's you get to church on Sabbath morning and somebody will say, the Sabbath school teacher has not turned up, can you do a class? And over the years I've learnt to do these classes off the cuff. And with the way things have been going with our pastor and the struggles he's going through at the moment, I said to my elders a couple of weeks, or probably a month ago, that we each need to have a sermon up our sleeves. And I'm thankful to say that I think nearly all of them have, except Rosemary. Rosemary's still working on the idea of preaching a sermon, but each of them have a sermon up their sleeve. And it's amazing how things work out. My sister comes up to visit us at Christmas time every year, and she comes up by bus and train from down the coast, and we take her home between Christmas and New Year. And when we took her home this time, we're sitting there having breakfast or tea, I can't remember which, and on her table was my mother's Bible. Now, I've seen this Bible stacks of times, and I just happened to be flicking through it, and I found something interesting, and I'm going to share it with you this morning. For those of you who don't know my mother, she was always writing something. If she was here this morning, she'd be sitting there with a notepad in her hand, and she'd be writing down the text and little comments as you went through, and so she would always write this stuff down. She had lots of pen friends, so she was always writing letters to people overseas and all over the place. And of course, as I've shared with you before, she loved writing poetry, and she would take a hymn, change the words to it, and present it for a special program in Sabbath school or church. So she was always writing. When I looked at this, I went through it, and I had a quick look at what she'd written in the front of her Bible. Just open the first page, and there she'd written a whole stack of verses and comments and so on. And I looked at it, I thought, that is really brilliant. It was written from memory in 1932, I think it was, in New Zealand, and it was something that had been presented by somebody or other, Crans. I can't make out the first letter. And here it was in her Bible. And so this morning, this is going to be more like a Bible study than a preaching service. And you guys out there, because I've got to do it off the cuff, you've got to help me. Is that fair enough? Are you prepared to help? Yeah. Right. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you to read some verses for me, but I don't want you to just start reading. I've got two capable men there with microphones, and as soon as you find this verse to read, if you raise your hand, I'll bring a microphone to you so that everybody can hear what is being said. This is simply entitled, The I Wills of the Bible. I just realised I do know who this man was. It was a Mr. A. Crans. We did work it out. Okay. And this is dealing with all the I wills of the Bible, the things that I will do, not me personally, but Christ will do. And so the first verse I want to draw your attention to is found in Matthew 11 and verse 28. Does somebody have that for me? Can somebody find that for me? Matthew 11 and verse 28. Just raise your hand when you have it. Okay, Michael has it down the back. Or Glenn's got it down the front. Okay.
Come unto me, all that labour and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
So what is this verse saying about I will? What will Christ do? He will give rest. Okay, what sort of rest is he talking about? Okay, is that the only rest that Christ gives us? The Sabbath rest? Yep, that's a spiritual rest as well. So is it spiritual and physical that he gives us? He does, yeah. And the invitation is there for all of us. If we accept him, he will give us rest. So there's the first I will. Okay, would somebody like to find for me John 3 and verse 37? Raise your hand when you've got it. John 3 and verse 37. Sorry? Well, try reading 36. John 6? Did I say John 3? Sorry, John 6 and verse 37. Sorry, just seeing if you're awake this morning. Okay, Michael.
All that the Father gives me will come to me, and the one who comes to me I will by no means cast out.
Okay, so what's the invitation here? Did you listen to what Michael read? What's the invitation and what's the I will? We won't be cast out. Is that important to us? Very comforting to us, yes. Okay, another verse, Matthew 8, verses 2 to 3. Matthew 8, 2 to 3. Cheryl?
And behold, a leper came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Then Jesus put out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. Immediately his leprosy was cleansed.
Okay, so what is the I will here? Be cleansed. Is this healing? He will heal us. He can heal us. Matthew 8, verses 2 to 3, we've just read that, haven't we? Healing, spiritual healing. And what does the Bible refer to sin as? What is referred to as sin in the Bible? What's the word pertaining to this that is spoken about in the Bible? Sin and is like leprosy, the leprosy of sin. He is prepared to heal for us. Okay, another verse, Revelation 3 and verse 20. Somebody else find that for me? Revelation 3 and verse 20.
Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him, and he with me.
So what's the I will here? What's the importance of this verse to us? What do we have to do? Where is he? Where's Christ? He's standing and he's knocking. How many handles are on that door? Inside or outside? Inside. So you can't open the door for me to let him in. You can't manipulate him to get into my heart. Glenn? No. I can't do it for you. We have to do it personally and individually. And what is the I will? I will come in and I will sup with him. How important it is to share a meal together. Do you find that if you do share a meal with somebody, that's when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you start talking, and it's very important that we do. And that's why we're having a church luncheon today, so that we can all interact with each other. Unfortunately, quite often though, when we do have these church luncheons, we still sit in our own little groups and chat to our own little friends. A challenge for you this morning, as we go to our luncheon afterwards, try and have a chat to somebody you haven't chatted to for a while. So Christ is saying, I will come in and be with you. I will sup with you and he'll be right with you. Okay, John 14, 1 to 3. Somebody else find that for me? John 14, 1 to 3. I can hear the pages rustling. John 14, 1 to 3.
John 14, 1 to 3. Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you so? I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I'll come again and I'll take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also.
Okay, so what is the essence of this verse? That Jesus will what? Come again. Is that important to us? Yes. Do we want him to come? Are we waiting for him to come? This old world can't last much longer the way it's going, and I think the sooner he comes, the better. With some of the stuff that is going on in the world, it's quite amazing that the world is still going the way it is. So I will come. He will come and take us away from this world. He'll take us out of all of this mess. He'll take us to a better place. He'll take us to heaven where there are rooms. There are many, many rooms, one for each of us. We'll have 2 homes. We'll have one in the country and one in the city. Do you want to be part of that? Okay, somebody like to find for me Matthew 10 and verse 32.
Therefore, whoever confesses me before men, I will also confess before my Father who is in the heaven.
Yes. So what's this telling us? What is Christ doing here? Intercessing for us. We go to him and he intercesses on our behalf to the Father itself. So he will confess our sins to God himself. And so that's a blessing to us. We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about what we've done. We can hand it all over to him and he takes it from us. Okay, what about Psalm 32 and verse 8? Can somebody read that for me? Psalm 32 and verse 8. I reckon Dennis would like to read this one for us. Oh. Psalm 32 and verse 8.
I will guide you and teach you the way you should go. I will give you good advice and watch over you with love.
So what is this saying to us? What is the I will here? What is Christ doing for us? Teaching, instructing, guiding, important to us. How can we ask for forgiveness? How can we have him as our intercessor if we don't know and learn about what he can do for us? The instruction is there, and so much instruction in the Bible of what we can do and how we can live our lives. Last week, what I was trying to get across, and I don't think I spelled it out quite specifically, we need to live our lives so that we can instruct others by the way we live. People will see us and they'll want to live their lives differently. They see something different in you and I. And so the instruction comes from Christ, comes from God. Matthew 4 and verse 19. Matthew 4 and verse 19.
Then he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men."
Okay, thank you. It's good to have the kids taking part as well. So what is this saying to us? Come to Jesus, follow him, and what's he going to do? Yes, and there are different ways we can do that, as we talked about last Sabbath. So this really is the I will, and what's one word we could sum that up with? Discipleship or service. Yes, discipleship or service. Okay, we've got another one here. Isaiah 45 and verse 17. Do we have another young person or a child that would like to read this for us? Isaiah 45 and verse 17. Okay, we have a young person down the back. Thank you.
But Israel shall be saved by the Lord. With an everlasting salvation, you shall not be ashamed or disgraced forever and ever.
Okay, so what is this one saying to us? Israel shall be saved in the Lord, everlasting salvation. You shall not be ashamed, nor confounded world without end. What is this saying to us? Yes, provision. He provides for us. He provided for Israel, and we are the modern Israel, aren't we? What about Isaiah 13:12?
I will make a mortal more rare than fine gold, a man more than the golden wage of Ophir.
Thank you. Okay. So what is this I will about? I will refine you. We are more precious than what? Gold. I've been watching the news a little bit lately. How much is gold worth these days? No, over $1,000 an ounce. Yeah. So we are more precious to God than that. He will make us more precious than that. We are his sons and daughters. That should make us very proud. Okay, John 14 and verse 16. John 14 and verse 16. Thank you, Barbara. No?
Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him.
Okay, I'm not sure that was the... was that John 14 and verse 16? Okay, just find the right one. John 14 and verse 16. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what is this about? I will pray the Father, and he will give you another comforter. So what is this I will about? Yes? What's one word that can sum this up? Comforter? Yes. All important, aren't they? As we live our Christian lives. What about John 14:3? John 14:3. Let somebody else have a turn. Thank you.
And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also.
Very good. So what is this about? Is this important to us? I will come again. I will return. I'll come and take you out of this place. I've prepared a better place for you. And because he has done that, he'll come back to take us home to live with him. That's a very good I will of Scripture, isn't it? Okay. What about John 17:24? Somebody else find that for me? John 17 and verse 24. Mark. I really appreciate these kids having a go. It's good.
Father, I desire that they also whom you give me may be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory which you have given me, for you loved me before the foundation of the world.
So what is this about? What's this one? Father, I will that they also whom thou hast given me be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory which thou hast given me, for behold, thou lovest me before the foundations of the world. What is this talking about in this verse? What is the one word, the I will? Request? Glorification? It's about being with him and being glorified as well. He's been here from the foundation. And it's interesting that as we go through these, that it's not dependent on my will, but it's Christ's will. It's Christ's I will, not mine. It's not a matter of what I can do, it's a matter of what he can do for me. But I have to be willing to listen, to act, and accept him. That's right. We were his before we were even born. He has a plan for us, and we can be thankful for that. We've just got to work out what that plan is sometimes, and that's not always easy, is it? Okay, just a couple more. Psalm 116, verse 13. Psalm 116, 13. Do we have another young person ready to read this? If not, someone young at heart. Somebody else can be looking up Psalm 106 and verse 4.
I will take up the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord.
Okay, who's taking up this cup of salvation? Who is it? The psalmist, yes? Okay, Psalm 106 and verse 4.
Lord, your people, oh, visit me with your salvation.
Okay, so this is about receiving the cup of salvation. And that's the importance of all of these I wills. They're there for us to study, to look at. We can take them on board. The most important thing is that Jesus has promised that if we follow him, he will come. He will help us. He'll take that sin away. He will cover us with his salvation, with his robe of righteousness. And then he'll come and take us home. And that's my prayer for you this morning. I hope we've been blessed this morning. Thank you.